I'm Lenora, your host of 3Ps in a Pod. Welcome to Purpose, Pathways, and Perspectives. Today's podcast, episode number 25, is an interview, actually, of me that Marnie Swedberg did. And it's packed full of great information, in my opinion. So that sounds really arrogant. But I listened to it again, and I think you'll really enjoy it. It covers everything from how to stop sabotaging ourselves, ways to understand our own purpose, secrets to launching and growing projects, how to turn around strained relationships, simple strategies for expanding diversity on teams, and even helpful tips on how to face painful situations. It's really full, and I actually had a great time talking with Marnie. She is a coach and a leader, as well as a Christian speaker, and we had a good time. So I hope you enjoy it and pass it on to a friend. You're bound to find a few things in there, I think, that will help you. And thank you for listening. I hope you subscribe and rate the podcast. And here we go.
Hey everybody, welcome. This is Marnie, and I'm excited to have you here with us today with Lenora Turner of Seattle, Washington. We're going to be talking about purpose, pathways, and perspectives. Welcome, Lenora.
Thank you so much, Marnie. Really glad to be with you.
Well, it's great to have you here. And we're going to be talking about how to stop sabotaging yourself, 7 ways to better understand yourself and your purpose, insider secrets to launching and growing projects, how to turn around strained relationships, 4 simple strategies for expanding diversity on your teams, and insider secrets for facing painful situations. And we're all kind of, this whole season is kind of intense. Lenora is such a great one to share this information with us because she is inspiring leaders across the world with an entertaining, solution-based focus regarding leadership thinking, workforce development, and the freedom delivering power of God's word. Her website is Lenora Diane. And so with that, welcome, and let's go ahead and dive in.
Thank you so much. And obviously with the list of those bullet points, we could talk for days. I mean, there's a lot of information here, so we'll have to touch on things. But I'm very excited. I care so much about helping people sense their potential, inspire hope again, and do the things they feel that they care about.
Right, and don't wait. Don't wait for things to settle down. I just keep saying my motto since summer has been take action now, because now is the right time. God is not sitting in heaven wringing his hands waiting for things to settle down. He is moving in hearts and lives right now, this moment. Yeah. And we want to get on board with him.
Yeah, we can be surprised, but he's never been surprised. So you've got to know your source. You've got to know and go to your source. Yeah. So and my motto for me has been keep taking steps. I'm gonna put these on so I can see.
That's right. Keep taking steps forward. That's right. And sometimes the step forward is to stand still and to see what God's going to do for you. But oftentimes the step is actually to take some positive action. Every morning, I have been just getting up for almost a year now. I've been getting up and saying, what do you want me to do today? Because he does have plans for us today, even if it's prayer, whatever it is, he has plans for us today. So the first thing we want to touch on is sabotage and self-sabotage. So this is kind of, it's been kind of a trendy phrase for a while, but the reality is that we can speak to ourselves in such a way that we discourage and bum ourselves out.
Yeah. And I caught myself doing this, and I think we all do. We all have the same similar struggles. When sometimes we do it also, we struggle alone, and we shouldn't. So I'm glad we have broadcasts like this. In so many ways, I encourage people to get good things in your ears and in your eyes and say good things out of your mouth. But I know in sabotaging myself, one of the biggest keys, because I could go through quite a few things, but one of the biggest things I found that has helped me is really there was a time in my life I had to mend my relationship with myself. Because here I thought I wanted to do things. I was trying to accomplish things. I was kind of driven even at times, really trying to make myself do a bunch of things. But I was actually sabotaging myself because I was treating myself like such a bully. I was kind of just saying, hey, Lenora, I didn't realize how critical I was of myself. Everything I did is like, oh, that was stupid. Why did you do that? I can't believe you didn't do it this way. And I really, at the same time I was trying to do something, I was being the worst kind of friend to myself that I probably could have been. And you can get to the point to where you think you're wanting to move forward, but you're almost like a dual personality thing where you're saying, I actually got this spot image years ago when I was in this worst spot where I was like, I walked into a room, saw myself sitting at a table, crossed arms going, I dare you to make me. And I was talking to myself. I was not going to cooperate. I won't cooperate with you. I don't care if you fail.
With yourself.
And it was like, uh-oh. Turns out it was like, well, if you aren't going to treat yourself with respect and honor and forgive yourself for the little things, encourage yourself, you'll get to where you can't cooperate. So that was the number one thing about stopping the sabotaging of myself was I had to mend the relationship I had with myself. That makes sense.
It does. It does. I was thinking earlier this week, I was thinking about how in our areas of weakness, so not in the easy stuff that comes easy to us, but in the stuff that's either new or is more difficult for us, we tend to think of ourselves as losers, as hopeless, as, I can't do it, won't do it, whatever, like that. And we need to just partner with God's perspective of us. Yeah. That he actually sees us as already done, already perfect. That's how he sees us when he looks at us. He doesn't look and say, wow, are you a mess?
Well, think about, yeah, think about when you're as a parent, if you are a parent,
right,
and your kids are learning how to walk. I mean, they would get up and they fall down. They get up and they fall down. Now, if you're any kind of a healthy parent, you aren't going, oh, I'm embarrassed that they fell down. You're saying, everyone's telling their friends, oh my gosh, my son or my daughter took a step today, took 2 steps. And they are just so excited. God does that with us. He's like, he's not seeing every time you fell down. He's going, she took a step. He took a step. And he's excited about that. And we got to realize sometimes our perspective of him is wrong. He's excited. He's created us. He's terribly impressed with his creation. And he knows we need him. And we have to be gracious to ourselves. But 4 words that help me: love, accept, honor, and respect myself. And then you got to focus on what you can do. What can I do? What's a step I can take? And stop belittling the things that I have done. Sometimes I'm like, well, I could feel great about something I accomplished. But instead, I tell myself that wasn't that impressive. It's like, wow. So you got to shut those voices down and become your in a way, internally, a best friend. How would you encourage a friend who is down? Do you do that yourself, to yourself? And if you're afraid, sometimes you have to do a step afraid.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that the key to remember is how is God seeing you? When I'm really confused about something, I just say, well, let me just crawl on the cross with Jesus and look at things from his perspective, and that changes everything.
Oh, and he says his ways are higher than ours, like heaven is above earth. He thinks so much more positively than we do. He has solutions we can't even dream of. So yeah, seeking into him, trusting that he's as good as he is, find a way.
Yep, absolutely. Let's talk about the 7 ways to understand yourself and your purpose. So what is number 1?
Number 1, I think, is the most important. And that is this: your life by itself is of significant value. I think, and I believe in things that you're gifted to do and a purpose you have in life. And by the way, we have multiple purposes. If I were to go to step number 2, you're a mom, you're a daughter, you're a wife, you're a coworker, you're a director, whatever it is that you do. That's multiple purposes in life. It's not just one thing, but your life by itself is of great value. If you think of stories in the news, it was several years ago now, when the entire world was watching a situation where it was a number of young boys and a number of men that were trapped underground, deep underground in a cave. The entire world was watching the rescue.
Right.
And you think about it, it wasn't so they could go to work the next day. It wasn't so they could go to school the next day. It's because their lives mattered. And we wanted their lives to be rescued. So number 1, you just being a human being is enough to go, wow, we want you to succeed. We want you to be here. You alone, your life matters. That's the number one thing.
I talk about in the 5 levels of personal power, I talk about power level number 1 is that you exist. And I always talk about how before a baby comes into the world, they, when they're coming into the world, they have no ability to do anything for themselves. They're completely dependent. They don't like provide you with any income. They don't
they do the opposite. Yeah.
What an impact they have on your family. That baby comes in and they make you laugh and they make you stay up all night, and they have so much power and so much effect on you just by their pure existence. So just the fact that you are is hugely significant. So what's number 2?
Number 2 is one I did just touch on. It is, I'm going to scoot myself here just so I can see this too, because I've got a little cheater with some of my notes, is that we do have multiple purposes. This really helped me. I always thought there was one thing, and if I didn't do that, I was just failing, and realizing, hey, there's a whole lot of purposes. You're a friend. It's a purpose. It matters that you're encouraging others, that you're being that wife or that mom, or don't say I'm just an at-home mom. Oh my gosh. The more people we have help and love on our kids, the healthier our families are, the healthier our world is. So don't just these things about yourself. We have many purposes. So there are things, and sometimes different seasons of your life, you have different purposes.
Right.
So remember, there's more than one thing you can do. And sometimes we're doing them at the same time. We're doing several at the same time.
And sometimes what God calls us to do is just for one person. Literally, it's for one person. And sometimes you won't even know who that one person is. You're just supposed to do it out of obedience to Christ and let it go. Cecil Murphy, he's the co-author, or I'm sorry, not the co-author, but the ghostwriter for many, many books, over 100 books, many best-selling books. And when he talked about when he got writer's block was when he had some bestsellers, and then he thought, how am I going to make this book a bestseller? I have to make this book a bestseller. And he couldn't keep on going with the kind of product that he had been producing until he could actually release that into the hands of God and say, my job is not to determine the outcome here. My job is to do the best I can with what I'm supposed to do. And that's, the multiple purposes, that it's so freeing to know that, like you said, like, it's not, I just don't have just one thing I'm supposed to do. And if that doesn't turn out the way I expect, then my life is over. Not even close. Heaven's perspective will tell. Yeah. What's number 3?
Another one is to discover and appreciate how you're actually wired. Now, I know that's huge. A book that I love, I'll pop it up here. I think it's okay. Taylor Hartman's The People Code. There's other ones that are out there, and I know there's different things you can take, tests and things. But when I started going, seeing how I'm wired, everyone has natural giftings. But I know sometimes I used to sometimes think, well, how come everyone doesn't think like I do? And then when I learned about these different ways that people are basically wired at their core, it was really, really great to understand, oh my gosh, no wonder I'm so driven this way, or why I approach things this way. But it also really helped me with relationships with others, seeing that, oh my gosh, I began to really respect the way they approach things, how different they were from me. There's certain personalities that are like, now, though we do need to submit to authority, there's some that have this thing, hey, just don't try to control me, and others try to be too controlling. Now, every great strength has great weaknesses. So no matter who we are, we need each other. That's why we need a group, and we need a tribe or squads or whatever you want to call it, other people, because we need to balance each other out. But to find out how you're wired, oh my gosh, it's really kind of fun. I used to be good at kind of morphing myself into like a chameleon. I'm trying to be what everyone I thought I should be for everyone else, and wasn't comfortable in my own skin. When I realized, hey, here's my strengths. And here's someone else's strengths. I could focus on what I was good at and not pretend I was going to be good at everything. So how I'm wired. And then if I go to another one, what are your top love languages? See, these are other people's books.
Yeah.
So that's a special thing too, is I know what motivates me. A top one for me is, in other words, what things when they happen, make me feel loved.
Yeah.
And words of encouragement is a top one for me. Yeah. Words matter. And so I think that's why I have found, even during this year, 2020 that I do better myself when I am encouraging others. Even if I'm not having a good day and I say I encourage somebody, I feel better because I'm using my gift. I'm using also when people encourage me, of course, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
So understanding those things about yourself help you go, oh, this is something I can do to make myself feel better, or how I fit in this puzzle of life.
Yeah. And it's so both and, because on the one hand, you're helping yourself understand yourself, why you react the way you do and how you can interact with others, but it helps you to understand other people and that they're not wrong, they're just different. And so,
What a thought.
Yeah, I know, right? But it's so freeing and it's so empowering. Yeah, I'm reading one right now called Better Than Before, talking about the personalities and how we do. And she doesn't even go into like the 4 main personalities like Myers-Briggs or anything, but she comes at a whole different angle. There's so much we can learn about this. And as we discover the creativity of God expressed through individuals, we become more willing to be authentically who he created us to be, which enables us then to let him flow authentically through us, like he cannot flow through anybody else the way he can flow through you. You're it. And so if you're not being who you are in him, if you're hiding some of that because you don't think it's correct or you'd rather be like somebody else, it's just it's disheartening to him, because it's like you're not completing your whole purpose for which he created you. So that it's beautiful.
Yeah. And one of the other points is what comes easy for you. Because sometimes you think, well, it's easy for me. So we belittle it and going, no, that's because you're gifted. That's because you're good at this. Not everybody's good at what you think everyone's good at. And so what comes easy for you? It's not easy for everyone. Some people, words come easy for them. Other people, it's math. It's the numbers, looking at the probabilities. It's doing the work with your hands. It's the builders.
Right.
There's so many things that you can be good at, but so stop belittling what comes easy to you. It's how you're wired, and it's part of your gifting, and it's needed.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay. Was What Comes Easily to Me, was that number 4?
It could have been number 5, because I know Top Love Language is 1, but that's another book I kind of cheated on.
But I love that Love Languages. If you guys haven't read that, you have to get it. Is it Chapman? What's the name of the author? Chapman, yeah, is the author there. And it really, really life-changing as far as just being able to not only understand why sometimes people are saying I love you and you don't feel loved, and why you're expressing love and they don't feel loved, because it depends on the language you're speaking in. I love the first analogy in the book is you're in Russia and someone is saying something to you and you don't know the language and you can't understand that they're saying, oh, you're just the most beautiful person I've ever seen. You have no idea what they're saying, and so you don't receive it the way they're intending it, because you cannot understand it. And so this love language thing is just huge. Okay, so what's number 6?
Number 6, what games did you play when you were little? That can be a clue to what's actually your gifting and some of your purpose. Like when I was a kid, I used to talk to, well, I didn't do it a lot, but I remember sometimes, teaching to stuffed animals or teaching, and I didn't line them up and do it a ton. I forgot that I actually did that. I would talk to fake people or something on my bed. Or I would also, I liked making my sister laugh, or I liked making my friends laugh. I didn't know I had a gift there. Now, sometimes when I've been too serious in life, that gift is like, where did it go? I used to be funny, but who knew that I would eventually later use, actually for 15 years, I did a comedy show for women, and who knew that I could be funny like that? But I played with it as a kid. I liked doing that. I like to teach. Now, I used to be very undisciplined in my thoughts, and I'd be all over the place. So I had to learn some skills, but I wanted to connect with people and help them understand things. So some of it can be, what did you like doing as a kid? And you may have forgotten some of those things. And there actually can be really nice clues to your actual wiring and your talents.
I love that. What's number 7?
I did talk about what comes easy for you. Don't belittle it. It's not easy for everyone. And you maybe jot a list. What comes easy for you? And then pay attention to it, because you can sometimes get paid really well eventually if you turn that into a skill and then begin to use it, that it'll really impact you for your purpose. Again, whether or not you're paid for it, it can make a nice impact.
Yeah.
And another one, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish up.
I was going to say, what do others see in you? Obviously, you want to talk to people that they're positive, but what do others see in you? Sometimes they'll recognize things, but you just ask them, help me. I'm trying to figure out, what am I good at? What's my strengths? What do you think my purpose is? I'll do that to somebody. I didn't used to years ago, but I'll literally say, would you encourage me? I need to hear it. I'm a words person. I need someone to feed me words right now, feed my soul. And then I also have to appreciate myself. Sometimes write down, oh, look what I have done, because I'd forget it. So what do others see in you? And then I say, lastly, be willing to try and fail. That might have been 8, but you know what?
It's okay.
Again, when you learn how to walk, if you weren't willing to get up again,
Right.
you'd be still sitting on a potty pad somewhere. So it's like, you have to be willing to get up again. You're going to fail. It's a part of the process. We're sometimes way too afraid of it. I certainly was. But I've learned, it's not quite so scary. It doesn't mean the end. You get up. You try again. You figure stuff out. We did it as kids. We still got to do that as adults.
Yeah, I had to redefine it for myself as feedback. So failure is feedback. Failure isn't failure. Failure is feedback. And you cannot move forward unless sometimes you make mistakes. It's just impossible to go forward without making any mistakes.
Yeah.
You even think of in Jesus's life, I get a kick out of a couple times when it's clear that he really didn't know what was going to happen next. Now, it's not always clear. Like sometimes I think he did kind of know what was going to come next, but other times he didn't. Like at the wedding of Canaan, his mom says to him, hey, they're out of wine. And he says, yeah, so what's that got to do with me? In other words, I don't have anything to do here today about that. But within minutes, within a short period of time, he understood that he actually did have something to do about it today. It became clear to him that there was an action he was supposed to or got to take, his first miracle. It's like, oh, today's the day I get to do my first miracle. Look at that. So, if I was going to be me, I would say, well, how did I fail to know that in advance? I mean, I'm God, I'm Jesus. I should have known that. But somehow he was perfectly fine with not knowing until he knew.
That's good.
We beat ourselves up about that all the time, but you can't know until it's time to know.
I remember being on a call with I was actually a prayer partner years ago on a TV program. And so I took this call, and I remember getting this call. I was in my early 20s, and somebody was calling, and they were very, very sad about, they had been married for many, many years. Now that their spouse had died. And I remember thinking, how can I help this person? I'm not anywhere near that age. I hadn't been married. I certainly hadn't been married for years, and somebody died. And I had a sense of the Holy Spirit, a little still quiet voice inside. Do you know what it is to be lonely? Yeah. It's like, just help her. She's lonely. Right. Oh, so you just talk about a few things that related to that. And I went, right. So you can have it relating to the core need in somebody, which is they need to be loved. They need to be encouraged. They need hope for their future. Things like that.
And just to trust that God's so got it. I mean, he's so got you, and he's got them too. So it's okay. Yeah. So what are some insider secrets to launching and growing projects?
Yeah, totally different topic, huh? But because I work on some projects, and thankfully I've been told over the years, I've been pretty faithful on one for some years. And one key is to understand the ask. In this case, it was something I was kind of handed a project that somebody else wanted done but didn't have time to do. And I really was responsible to help it grow. So I needed to understand, what is the purpose? What do they actually want? Is it clear? And then look for common ground to build on. In this case, it was a project within a bigger system. And so I knew if I was going to be successful, it had to line up with it wasn't the same as other things, but it needed to line up with the core values. And so I had to find the common ground. And so some of this is just that prep of, how does this line up? And I, for a while, had some of the lineup. And then I found out later I was missing one of the major pieces. And it was like, oh my goodness, when I helped line that up and I started speaking it out loud and communicating how this lined up with what we already were doing and what we do believe in, it helped me gain, because I was gaining traction with the values of others I was trying to work with. So that's one, understand the ask, understand what it is you're trying to accomplish. And it may get clearer along the way, but you have to have a good sense of your direction. And then finding common ground to build on. And then when I'm working with others, when I'm working with teams, Assume best intentions.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
You've got to assume people, in my case, I knew what I was building was not a top priority. It couldn't be. Not because people didn't care. I couldn't take that personally. There's other things that were priorities. And so I've had to have a lot of patience. I've had to use a lot of patience. Sometimes I've said a stupid amount of patience. But realize that people are busy. There's things going on. Weren't trying to exclude me. I had to assume best intentions, or you can get yourself offended and off course and stop trying to be effective. I can just keep on going through some of these points.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. And I kind of mentioned it, have patience. Have patience. For me, it's taken I've said it a few times to others too. Hey, this is going to take a stupid amount of patience.
I love that, a stupid amount.
It's like, I cannot believe I'm still working on this. But to realize,
but
if you're really trying to accomplish something that's new or different, it takes patience. You're trying to gain traction. It takes time to build momentum. It takes time to realize what's the right timing. So another one is, I love the word pilot. Sometimes when you're starting something new or a new piece of it, and some people, they're worried about their own performance. And if you can use the word, we're going to pilot this, we're going to beta test this, it takes the pressure off the team, takes the pressure off everyone from being perfect.
Changes the expectation.
Yeah, it helps you go, okay, the pilot or beta means we're going to work to get this right. We're trying it, but we're also going to adjust it. So another way, someone else used to say this that I highly respect, and he's a great leader. And he said, you know what? You don't always want to go for a home run. Often you want to go for a base hit. Right. Go for the base hit. You'll build from there. So pilot's a great word. Beta test is a great word. So you can take the pressure off and figure it out as you go. Another one, celebrate efforts as you go. Celebrate the effort. Celebrate the intentions. Celebrate the successes you have. And for me, when, again, I'm working with others that are already very busy, make it as easy as possible for them to engage. I had a conversation once with a very, very senior leader, a couple of them, and at the time, they thought I wasn't, they were kind of surprised I wasn't taking certain steps to make it happen. Because some people, you're really good at making things happen. And I said, I understand. In fact, I actually get good results when I ask people to do this because of the role I have. I said, but I don't think it's easy enough yet. And he was surprised a little bit, and he went, I agree with you. I know. That's why I haven't pushed this until it's easier for these people that are already so busy, already working very hard, which I highly respect. Then I'm not going to push them farther and make them feel guilty and they just make it another thing to execute. It's like, no, I've got to make this easy for them to engage with. I want to, and then I'm going to praise their work because I do know the ones I'm working with are very busy and I highly respect their efforts. So again, I can't take it personally that they don't care to hear about what Lenora has to say today. But, it's not about me. It's about what are we trying to accomplish as a team? And when does it make sense? And so quit putting my ego in front of everything and realize everyone's, again, back to that, assume best intentions. And then when you have the successes, another one is leverage those successes. Tell those stories and give honor where honor is due to those that are taking steps. I found that the project that I work on, or different ones I have, and I've worked on different, so I don't want to just pin this on one particular project, but people often want to participate, but they've also have a lot of things they're juggling. So when you can assume that, again, back to that intention, they want to do this. You've got to make it reasonable for them with everything else they're trying to accomplish. And then sometimes I assume the yes. And I just like, I learned that once working at an airline when I was working on sales, and they said the assumptive sale. That was a nice win for me. I've used it ever since for years. There's times where it's appropriate to realize, hey, they're actually coming. When I worked at the airlines and I was doing sales, they were coming, people come to me to find out about flights. I wasn't even calling them. So they want to get one. So assume you can find a solution for them. So assume the yes, and then share the successes. Assume positive intent, all those types of things, but takes a lot of patience.
Love it. Okay, let's talk about, we're going to jump again here. Let's talk about strained relationships, and we're just going to spend about 3 or 4 minutes on this one. But sometimes a relationship that is strained can actually stop us from progressing forward, because there's so much pain that's involved in it. Pain and confusion, maybe even the shaking of the ground on which we stand, depending on how close the relationship is. So from your experience, Lenora, how do you turn around a strained relationship?
And I use the word strained for a reason, because this may not be, there's maybe more to it if it's a really deeply broken relationship. So I'm talking about a strained one. And for me, the biggest key when something was strained and I was feeling like, I don't want to work with them really, or I can't believe they're not giving me the respect I'm due, or something that I felt strained. One of the things I had to do is really humble myself and say, I needed to give honor where honor was due. Sometimes I thought, well, I can't believe I wasn't getting honor or certain things. And I went, are you honoring them? I remember when I was put over a team, and some people really did not understand why. And they had, sadly, not great assumptions. I had to realize, try to look at it from their perspective and really say, okay, I need to honor them. I need to honor what they contribute, what they have, what they've got on here, and not come in and pretend like they didn't know something and I was going to fix everything. That wasn't at all the truth. They had amazing abilities, and I needed to honor what they were capable of and what they've already done. And in fact, some cases, I knew they knew more than me. And so I honored that. So that changed, turned things around when they were honored over time. And I really humbled myself. Humbling doesn't put yourself down. It's recognizing others and recognizing how we need each other. And then it's amazing how it turned around, and other ones have gained great respect for me. But it came from me honoring them first. So also being willing to listen. And listening helped me when I realized listening to you doesn't mean I agree with you. Sometimes we don't want to listen because we're so sure we don't agree that we think even listening to you means I agree with you. That's not. We're trying to gain understanding. So you have to be willing to listen. Again, it takes humility. It takes some patience. And then when you have also a relationship and you're trying to gain some traction, make some emotional deposits. If you think of a bank account, you got to make deposits before you can make withdrawals.
Right.
Bounce checks all the time.
Right.
So in our relationships, make little deposits. Do kind things. Do little things. Say thank you. All the simple things add up, and that'll help build and reconcile that relationship.
One of my favorite sermons ever was, I was a teenager and my youth pastor gave a sermon that was called, "If you don't love something enough, invest more." And I really loved that, how you said make small deposits even before you feel the emotion of, I so want to love you and I so want to invest in you and I so want to spend time with you. Just go ahead and do it as if it's going to be the truth at some point. Go ahead and invest early, and even in a strained relationship, you can turn that around. We're going to move on to the 4 simple strategies for expanding diversity on your teams. And this one is kind of interesting. So some of you are like, I don't have team, but the thing is that you either have a team or you're on a team, or you will have a team. This is just how life works. So let's go ahead and just, why don't you take us right through the 4, and then we'll come back to a couple top points on them. Okay.
And this, again, like as Marnie just said, qualify it as it fits you. One is take a look at your current team. And there's so many things you hear about diversity these days. So it's broader sometimes than what we are just given in some of the talking points. But take a look at your current team. Where are you at? If you don't know where you're at, how can you grow? And then when you think of diversity, let's think of it in a lot of different ways. It can be diversity, sure, yeah, absolutely. Diversity of gender or of race or of age, but also of experience, knowledge, background. There's a lot of different types of diversity, and we need to regard all of it. Another one is put your opportunities in front of diverse groups. Sometimes that's the easiest way to build diversity is you're thinking, well, hey, they aren't coming to me. How can I do that? Well, that's okay. Just put your opportunities in front of more diverse people so they have the option. That's a great way to increase it. Partner with those groups that are already more maybe diverse than you. Another one, appreciate contributions from your current team, from those that are different from you. Appreciate them. Try to gain awareness. And again, that back to listening too. It's another way to do it.
So if we would go back to the first 2, to assess where you are right now, and then to recognize that diversity is in many different ways. What is the value of having a diverse team?
Well, you find that everybody doesn't think like you. And that's a good thing. I mean, there's a lot of great things I think about or do well. There's other things you think well, but we don't have it all. There's so many ways, and especially you'll find people that are struggling with a problem. It's because they need another perspective. They need another way of looking at it often. So we need multiple perspectives, and there's so many more than you've thought about. It's pretty wonderful when you start to gain it. Yeah, I was talking to somebody who I adore. She's in a very different part of the world than me, and we shared each other's story. She's from actually Southeast India. And she was telling me some of what she grew up with. And I was like, wow, things can be so different. And she's amazing. So you want to hear, you want to learn, because it opens up your eyes and it makes you much more grateful for so many things, and it makes you more effective.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that the challenge is that because we're the most comfortable with people just like us, a lot of times we don't even recognize that we don't have a diverse team. We don't recognize that my team all looks pretty much the same, and obviously not, but at the same time, a lot the same.
Yeah, because we get comfortable. Everyone has their comfort zones, and humans like to hang around what's comfortable. Sometimes we feel like it's scary or we don't know what it is. And so you understand that. I think it's very natural for people to stick with whatever's comfortable, and you don't have to be afraid of it. There's amazing different things out there. It's okay to learn about, and you find it just adds so much color to your life and so much more perspective that you'll fall in love with it, with the appreciation of it. But it's normal. It is a very normal thing to want to stay in our comfort zone.
Yeah.
We just got to break that.
Yeah. And the other advantage to having a diverse team is that everyone that you serve will be served better by the inclusion of many different perspectives and worldviews and mindsets that are coming together on your team. You'll be able to serve people in a different way than you could when you're just all from the same. If everybody on your team has the same personality type, then that's the only personality type you'll ever be able to really serve. I mean, and it's this way in all categories. And so it's so helpful to our ministries and our businesses and our lives to be able to expand that a little bit more. So let's go ahead and spend the last few minutes here on the insider secrets for facing painful situations. And this could be anything from that you're unclear about what your future is going to hold, all the way up to the loss of a loved one or anything else in between.
Yeah, and this one could be quite a journey. And I'm not going to pretend I'm an expert. I've just dealt with some of my own pain and done searching to deal with it, whether that's grief from a loss or fear that I was the negative thought I thought about myself and afraid to face that. So thinking, and I think when you're going to face pain, I mean, who wants to? Years and years ago, I had this thought, Lenora, you're afraid of your own pain and you're afraid of other people's pain. I was like, oh, that's true. What do I do about it? Who wants to deal with pain? So one, I'm going to say is, I think people need to have a safe place to face pain. You have to feel like you have some level of safety to do it. And whether that means, for me, it's a core thing is I got to know God's a safe place. Some people, maybe love God and yet don't feel like he's a safe place because their perspective of him is a harsh father. And it's like, wow, you got to get healthier in understanding who he is. But if finding a safe place, it's like, because if you're going to, like, you have a big thorn in your hand, or you got something that you need a surgery on, and they say, well, you're going to have to get on the operating table. Well, we can't operate on you if you're going to get up and bolt from the middle of surgery. So you got to know you're in a safe place, so you'll be there to deal with it. It's not necessarily a thing. Yeah. So a safe place, and where you're not feeling like you're going to be attacked. And so sometimes that can mean writing it out. Maybe you don't feel safe talking about it right now, so maybe you can write it down in a place no one's going to see it. Also talking to God and saying, I know for me, I had a warped perspective of God the Father. So in a way, I kind of talked more like to Jesus, because I thought, well, I knew for sure he was nice. I think. But I mean, this is 10 years ago. So it's like, I'm going to talk to where I feel like it's a safe place and just begin to pour my heart out, not try to perform, but just pour it out. So whether you're writing it down, but a safe place to at least start from. And I think sometimes when I found myself, when God's working an insecurity out of me, or helping me get rid of some negative thoughts, he's had to help me see what he said about me that's so much better than I thought. That what he's done for me, what he believes about me, who I actually am as being created from his image. When I began to see that, and I had enough security there, well, then I was more willing to face the negative thoughts that I was afraid might be true. Maybe I am stupid. Maybe I can't do it. And I wasn't willing to face that. Well, when I began to realize, no, I really am created in the image of God. I really am loved by him. Then I was willing to face the things that I was afraid, dear God, I hope they're not true. What if I can't? What if I'm not valuable? So a safe place in your beliefs, so you'll be able to beat down those negative ones. It's hard to beat down a negative belief about yourself, a painful belief about yourself, if you're afraid it might actually be true. So, you get some good thoughts in you, some good things in you, so you can fight those negative, painful thoughts away from you, whether it's your own thoughts. So one is that find a safe place in various ways. I've just kind of touched on that. Another one, you need to believe hope for your future. There is hope, and hope isn't just, oh, I hope there is. There's actually, it's more of an anchor. There is a good future for you. You can anchor to it. It's out there in the future, but it's a real thing. It's not just a maybe. It's no, you can set your anchor on it. Yeah. There is a hope. You're going to get there. So accept that there is good things for you. Believe that there's good thoughts towards you. I think, of course, Jeremiah 29:11 for God saying, I know the thoughts I think towards you, thoughts of hope and a future, peace, good things. And that's, you also got to believe it's possible, that whatever you need to conquer, whatever you're walking through, it's possible. And in some cases, it's about being willing to forgive. So these are big topics. So willing to, sometimes I sing my own notes, distracting myself, says, let the tears flow. Sometimes it's going to take, you need to grieve. You got some pain and you're even stuffing it. Sometimes you just need to cry. There's nothing wrong with that. Tears have been incredibly healing. They say each tear has its own chemical imprint. I haven't posted a blog on this yet, but I've been writing some things because I think it's important to know that God, as the scripture says, God holds our tears in a bottle.
He keeps them.
He keeps them. Maybe it wasn't a bottle back then; it was a wineskin, but he keeps them because he cares so much. He knows that each tear tells a story, and sometimes we need to release those toxins, release those fears, and it can be tears of joy too. But they can be healing. Let it out. We got to use our imagination. I'm jumping again. Use your imagination for good. Sometimes we tell ourselves the negative story, and sometimes it's a story we even misunderstood. But if you keep telling yourself that, you get stuck in that negative story. So what story do you tell yourself? If you want to face pain, maybe you got to let go of that story or see the story differently. I know there's times where I felt like I was personally rejected, and God helped me see, actually, they didn't know how to accept anybody. It wasn't about me. It was where they were at. So the story I was telling myself was wrong. So using your imagination, writing, sometimes your pain needs to be shared. Sometimes, and once you get to where you're willing to face it, then you can actually use it and use it to help others. The comfort that you were comforted with, you can use to comfort others. So it's a big, big topic. And pain is real, especially in seasons like this or a year like this. We all have faced certain things. I have much to be grateful for, but I've struggled as well. And but I'm not afraid to cry. I'm not afraid to say, somebody, I need encouragement. But I also know that some of my friends are a safe place. So whether it's finding a new set of friends, people that will encourage you. If you don't have strong friends to speak into your life, listen to podcasts, listen to broadcasts, read positive books. I am listening to stuff all the time. And I'm fairly positive, but I'm always putting in good things into my eyes, into my ears, and I need to be speaking them out of my mouth. But I also need help. We all aren't meant to go through this stuff together. We are meant to do it together. And that's not a weakness to need it. We all need each other.
Right. Yeah. I love all those. One of the things that I like to remember when I'm in pain is, however great the pain is, the blessing that's coming is even greater. And the analogy of that is Jesus on the cross and how painful that was. But look what came from his willingness to do that. And we can see this in all through the stories in scriptures. People had down times followed by amazingly high times where God just used them, showed up for them, and restored what the locust stole. And so really, I love that principle. And when I'm in a lot of pain, I think, wow, God's got something really great coming for me. If he would have me go through this pain right now.
It's so important not to do it alone too, and realize everyone
Right.
struggles. Everyone struggles. In fact, I actually got to know Ken Falke, a book called Struggle Well. There's a lot of
Mm,
Boulder Crest Foundation for combat veterans or first responders that face trauma. And there can be post-traumatic growth is something they talk about. So gosh, I've
yeah.
been bringing that up since it came to me.
Yeah.
Struggle Well, great book. But keep putting good things inside ourselves and realize God he's there. He's right there with us. And no matter what it is, he's there and he will help. And there is a way out. There is a path forward.
Yeah.
There can be beautiful things. He says he'll make beauty from ashes. Only God can do that.
So the famous saying is, this too shall pass. And I have a friend who says it this way: this came to pass. In other words, it came with the intent that it will pass.
Yeah.
So know that however it is today, it won't stay this way forever. Well, Lenora, this was so fun. Thank you for being here. And I want you guys to make sure that you go over and check out her website at lenoradiane.com. When they go over there, what are they going to find?
They're going to find a few things. They can find, I have to keep adding to the blog, but I have a podcast called 3 Ps in a Pod. It's about purpose, pathways, and perspectives. I have a love, who knows if I love that title all the time, but there's amazing interviews on there, career stories with executives, understanding some about post-traumatic growth with veterans. We have more things coming even on Veterans Day coming up. So topics for how to succeed on your first job. So there's the podcast. There's also information on just how I could help if you do want information on how to build your projects and if you're working with corporate social responsibility, things like that. But I also love to encourage and speak to people, help you understand your potential. So please contact me if you want me to speak for you. I would love to encourage your teams.
That's awesome. And of course, Lenora is one of our featured speakers over at womenspeakers.com. So you want to check that out. And thank you so much for being here. Thanks, Lenora.
Thank you, Marnie. It's been my pleasure.
And thanks, you guys. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you next time.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the interview. We had a great time sharing perspectives. Now, my intention, FYI, is to do a podcast every week. But Kathy and I, the person who helps me, my great friend who helps me with this podcast, we wrestle with, and it's mostly me, wrestling with being able to get it accomplished every week. So it may be every other week sometimes, but I want to hear your feedback. I hope you subscribe to the podcast, rate the podcast, and always give us your comments. You can go to lenoradiane.com to learn more and find other episodes. Have a great week. Take care of you.